welcome to High Road. My name's Andrew, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to play my fingerstyle arrangement of Yesterday by the Beatles from a video that I published to YouTube 14 years ago. So as I mentioned, this arrangement of Yesterday was one that I came up with a long time ago. I published it to YouTube in 2007, back in the very early days of YouTube, and you know, it's had something like 11 or 12,000 views and quite a few comments of people asking, do you have sheet music for this? Do you have tablature? And I never have. It's just something I've played. I've never written it out. But I've decided now to start doing more of these fingerstyle videos and giving you guys the sheet music and a tutorial to go with it, because it's something that I do and it's something I can share with you guys. So here's how this lesson is going to work. First of all, I'm going to play you my original video from 2007 alongside the new sheet music and tablature underneath, so you can see that all side by side. Now for some of you that may be all you need, the ability to just see the tab alongside the video. You can work it out from there. You can fast forward and rewind through the video, you can slow it down, and you can work it out. But after you've watched the video, I'm going to come back and walk you through it slowly, note by note. Now the thing that's going to help with that, and I'd really appreciate it if you did this, there's a link in the description to SMP Press where you can actually go and buy this entire sheet music arrangement. If you do, you get a PDF download like this which you can print out. It's 3 detailed pages of sheet music and tablature, exactly what you're going to see in the video but on paper. You can print it out, you can spend time with it, because an arrangement like this you're not going to learn it in one sitting, it's going to take time. So when you've got a print out like this, you can keep it with you, you can absorb it over time away from YouTube, and you can keep it. Also, I get a 10% commission when you buy these, so it helps to support the channel and supports me as an artist, and it encourages me to do more of these videos. So, on to the video. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. Now I'm going to take you through the arrangement note by note. I'm not going to go through every single little detail. That's why I did the sheet music. Rather, what I'm going to do is show you how I put this arrangement together, show you some of the tricks that will help you to play it, and maybe give you some tips on how you can modify this arrangement to make it your own. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Bar 1 is based around a C chord, and the melody is... So it's D, C, C. So if I play a C chord like this, I'm using all 4 fingers of my right hand. By the way, I use a thumb pick for this. And I'm playing C, E, G, C. The 4 middle strings. The melody I'm playing with my pinky. And I'm using my, by the way, I'm using Pima fingering for my right hand, P-I-M-A. If you're not familiar with that, that's Latin for thumb, index, middle, and annular is what that's called, P-I-M-A. So I'm using my A finger to do the melody here. Pretty simple. Now, if you're looking at the sheet music, you'll see a bunch of really fast notes that follow that. So that's just fill. Okay, it doesn't matter if you do it exactly as written on the sheet music. You could do something like this. Or you could do something like this. As long as you fill that space up somehow. It's also important that the melody stands out and that any accompanying or filling that you do is softer, so that it sounds like two guitars playing. Like that. So there's your first bar. Okay. The next bar, I'm using my thumb to play a B on the A string. And here I'm making essentially a D chord shape. So altogether, when you have a B on the bottom, D, A, D, F sharp, that gives us a B minor 7 sound. And I'm using my thumb pick to play the first two notes. Okay, that's really where the melody starts. So my thumb switches to playing from this B bass note, switches to the bottom E string. And my left hand continues doing these thirds. So these thirds, this is the melody, by the way. So the thirds sounds like a harmony, like a backing singer doing a harmony. Then we go to an A minor chord. Now in the sheet music you'll see an arrow pointing up with a squiggly line. That means, normally that would mean rake, but here we're raking with our fingers. And I'm hammering on the melody there. So this is, I'm half barring at the 5th fret. It's 3 notes of an A minor chord, based on that. But I'm playing the bass note with my thumb, the open A string. Again, you'll see in the sheet music that there's some fill notes after that. They've got to be nice and soft. So let me play those bars 2 and 3 for you again. Okay, hopefully you're following along at this stage. Bar 4. Now this is normally an F chord here, but I like the sound of, well, I find this chord shape here, an F chord, a little bit uncomfortable. It also means a big jump to get back down to the G. So I've modified this into a D minor 7 chord. So I'm making putting my open D string, then a C on the string 3, an F on string 2, and an A on string 1. But only the A is the melody. Okay? So that's a chord substitution. Instead of doing an F chord here, I've gone, which to my ear sounds really nice. Now I switch to a G chord, and by that I mean I use my thumb to play a G bass note, and then I use my other fingers to keep the melody going. Oh, I should mention, that's a nice little pull off there. Sort of sounds a bit like something Tommy Emmanuel would do. I like it. Now once you've done that, you put your pinky on the D, and you use that note to pivot to the next chord. I'll show you that again. sorry. I do a little rake that. Okay, so I'll show you that again. So that chord there, you could say it's a C add 9, or it's not really a C sus4 because it's got both an E, which is the third, and an F in it. The F to me is just melody, so I don't include that in the chord. So I would call this a C add 9 chord. That's the melody there. Okay, then you're going to hold that chord shape there. You're going to go. Okay, so I'll go back to the bar 5. Oops. Now holding this chord that I've got here, so the D stays where it is with my pinky, and I'm walking down. So this is a C add 9 chord, G over B, and now I'm down to an A minor. Now this chord technically is supposed to be a D, but I've made it a D over F sharp because I just like the way it sounds. Normally it would be like this, with a D bass note. But I like this, the F sharp in the bass. Alright, so A minor, there's the A minor. This next little bit is a tricky fill that I find it hard to play it when I'm thinking about it. It's something that I just play in the moment, but I'll give it a try. Okay, so all that is just a right hand fill. Click. By click, what I'm doing is I'm actually throwing all my fingers down on the strings that they were already assigned to. Like that. It's not just a palm click, it's a very specific kind of those strings, F sharp, D, A, D, like that. So, and then as I'm letting go of that chord, I'm hitting the open E string, which pulls me into F with my thumb here. If you don't want to play that fill, this might be an example you could do. You could do something like that, or what I'm trying to show you here is that you don't have to do exactly what's in my arrangement. You can use the principles that I'm using to create your own. As long as you know what the melody is and what is fill, then you can make up your own fills. Okay, now we're on to bar 7. So I'm playing an F chord here, using my thumb to play the bass note, and using fingers 1, 2, 3 to play C, A, and F, like that. So, and that's a C chord. So F, C, C, and it could be the melody note up the top. The reason I use my thumb over the back is because I can. If your thumb's not big enough to do that, you're probably going to find arrangements like these quite difficult. Or if you have a classical guitar, you may not be able to do that. Some people with smaller hands, if you're a female guitarist, you may have just slightly smaller hands. You may want to try and find a guitar with a slimmer neck that suits your hands. But there's plenty of guitarists with smaller hands that can do this. It's a lot more technique than it is hand size. If you look at someone like Mary Spender, she can do this very easily. So I really recommend using your thumb rather than trying to do everything the classical way and avoid your thumb. Just use your thumb if you can. Tommy Emmanuel does it, Jimi Hendrix does it, John Mayer does it. I do it. It's not wrong to use your thumb. Okay, now you'll see here towards the end of bar 7, there's more fill here. Then everything you've just played repeats. On the video, I'm pretty sure that it's identical, except that when I went first time, on the second time through, I think I did a little triplet thing. That's the only difference. So, as I said, once you get to bar 7, everything just repeats, and we've already covered that. So now let's move on to bar 8. This is now, well, this song doesn't really have a chorus, so I guess this is sort of the bridge. Why she had to go, I don't know. So it's that part there. Now I'm holding a very similar B minor 7 shape to what I was earlier. It's essentially a D chord with your thumb playing the B on the A string. The melody, however, is an E, top E string. So I take off my second finger, and that's the chord I'm left with. Now, technically, this is a B minor 11 chord, because we've got a B, we've got an A, which is the minor 7th, we've got a D, which is the minor 3rd. We don't have a 5th, but it's sort of implied, our ears kind of hear it anyway, and the E is the 11th, so that's a minor 11th chord. So the melody here is just E, E, with a B minor 7, and then an E7 underneath it, but I'm spicing it up with a little bit of rhythmic fill with my right hand, so I'm going... And you notice that I'm letting the top E string ring. I'm not playing it again as part of my fill. I'm not going... because that kind of interferes with the melody. I'm trying to let the melody ring and use my other fingers and the other strings to create the fill. So I'm, with my right hand, I'm going... is playing a little rhythm between those to give it some movement. It's not too hard at all. Okay, next we've got this A minor chord that we used before, very similar to a famous song that you might know. So we're half barring strings 1, 2, 3, and we're using our thumb to play the bottom A string. So what we're doing here is we're doing an A triad, then a G triad, then an F triad, with the melody note on top. A minor, the G triad, I'm still half barring, but on the 7th fret, and I'm putting my second finger on the 8th fret of string 2, which is, you could do that as a D shape, right? But I'm doing it with a half bar because that's a bit more efficient. Then the F triad is derived from this bar chord here. It's like an A shape, and I'm playing it with those 3 fingers. 8th fret, 10th fret, 10th fret. Okay, and with my thumb I'm playing the bass note in between each chord to give it some movement. And you can see I've put the melody in there on the last one. Alright, now we're up to bar 10. And bar 10 is this part of the melody, which is I know she wouldn't say, and the chords here would normally be D minor and then G. So the simple way to do this would be to make a D minor chord and then kind of figure out the melody above it, and then go to a G chord. Right, it sounds nice enough, but I just didn't like it that much, so I kind of reharmonized this bar and made it a G chord over a D bass note, which is kind of the best of both worlds. This is how I play it. Right? So that's my little spin on those two chords. I'll play it again a little bit more simply. I'll take out all the filling that I'm doing and I'll just make it chord and melody. Okay, here it is with the fill again. So the next note, the melody there, E, is the open E string, and that gives me time to move my hand down and fill in the rest of the C chord. And there I'm just filling in more space with my right hand. You can play any fill you want there. Doesn't matter what you play there, it's just something to fill in that space. But again, you should keep the melody clear and the fill should be de-emphasized, should be in the background like an accompanying guitar. Alright, now we're up to bars 12, 13 and 14, which are essentially the same as bars 7, 8 and 9. Towards the end though, there is a little difference. So let me play this for you. Bar 12, 13. Here's where it's different. Okay, that's the end of the bridge essentially. So I'm going to go from bar 14. So here's the melody. And here's the melody with the chords underneath. So this is essentially a C chord that I'm playing here. If it was a bar chord, you'd see it straight away. But I'm playing it with my thumb holding the bass note and these two fingers here. This one's doing a half bar of strings 1 and 2 at fret 8, and my second finger is holding down fret 9 of the 3rd string, which gives me the outside edges of a C chord. Right? And here's those 2 bars with my embellishment thrown in as well. I should go do a little hammer on there. So that brings us to the end of the bridge. Now what follows is almost identical to the beginning of the song. In fact, I think it is identical. I'll play that through for you now. Starting to get into the ending at this point. So we're now up to bar 19, 20, 21. 21 is where I would call this the ending, and it's a series of looping chords. It's A minor, D over F sharp, F, C. F, C. And the melody there is what I'm doing here is I'm embellishing and looping those that melody and those chords and adding lots of extra stuff with my right hand. So let me play bars 21 and 22 for you. Okay. All I'm really doing there, as I said, is playing an A minor chord, D over F sharp. My thumb on the F sharp and I'm playing a partial D chord there. F, the shape I've shown you before. That's a C chord there. Everything else you're hearing is mainly my right hand creating rhythmic fills. The ones I played in the original 2007 performance are in the sheet music, but let me give you some other examples of what you could do. around with it, and the original performance was kind of a little improvisy towards the end. So by all means, if you want to learn how I played this ending, then it's all there in the sheet music, but use what I've done as a starting point for your own ideas. Probably the way to get started with that is to just play the melody notes with block chords underneath. Like that. And then start to get more and more busy and embellish those with rhythmic stuff in your right hand. Sometimes just playing with thumb, fingers is a good way to go. Like that. Or maybe you could do something arpeggiated. Some ideas that you could start with. So in this arrangement I play that 4 times, and on the final one I slow it down a little bit. And that's it, that's the whole arrangement. Something else I want to point out here is that when I come up with a fingerstyle arrangement like this, I don't write it out note for note and then learn it and then perform it. I kind of do it the other way around. I work out the arrangement on the guitar, and then I might write it out later, as I have in this case. So in order to construct that arrangement in the first place, what I'm really thinking about is the melody, and the chords. And the arrangement flows from those two things. That's why you can create your own arrangement. You don't have to copy mine if you just focus on the melody and the chords. So because of that, if you buy the sheet music that I've been referring to throughout this tutorial, there is included on there a 4th page which is just the melody and the chords, like a jazz fake book. And that is actually what I read when I perform this piece. If I have sheet music at all, it's just this. I don't have all that detailed stuff that you've been reading throughout this lesson. I just have this. And that allows me the freedom to muck around with the arrangement each time I play it. I can make it different a little bit each time. So that's included with the sheet music if you buy it. Now you may notice that there's no tablature here. It's just standard notation and chords. So if you can't read standard notation, then maybe this isn't for you. But I did this intentionally because I wanted to read like it would out of a jazz real book. And there's no better way to learn the melody and chords of a song than when you can see it written out as D, C, C instead of 3, 1, 1 like you would with tablature. You're not bound to particular strings or frets this way. You can see the melody for what it is, and you can arrange the melody wherever you want to on the guitar. It also forces you to think a certain way when you're arranging a melody. So this is intentional, and it's for those of you who can read music. If you need tablature, you've got all the tablature you need in the previous 3 pages that we've been using throughout the tutorial. So that's a bonus there for those who want to come up with their own arrangement and really understand the true DNA of the song, the melody and the chords. Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see those of you who learn this arrangement maybe come up with your own way of playing it. As always, if you want to make music, record music and build musical stuff, start now by subscribing below. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.